Our topic is methods of studying biosynthesis. There are several methods and tools which are developed and established by the scientists doing active research in the field of biochemistry and microbiology. There are so many metabolic pathways and so many enzymes which are actively participating in pathways. To identify them, to analyze them, and to understand the mechanism behind a particular pathway, also to find out particular intermediates and various enzymes involved in various pathways, it is important to understand about the methods of studying biosynthesis. So now let us start with the topic. Methods of studying biosynthesis. The study of energy generating reactions was the main target of biochemistry in the beginning. The enzymes were directly studied from the reactants and end products, and then after the complete sequence of reaction was confirmed. Inducible pathways can be induced by a particular type of substrate, and it is called inducer molecule. Inducer molecules are generally the precursors of the pathway. In the absence of precursors, the enzymes of inducible pathway are not catalyzed, and most of the catabolic pathways are inducible pathways. The bacterial cells are grown on inducer molecules and also on the substrate molecule, which can be metabolized through alternative pathway by the organism. Then after, from the obtained results, the probable intermediates of inducible pathway are confirmed and established. Inducible enzymes of an inducible pathway cannot be synthesized in the absence of primary inducer substrate. All the enzymes of an inducible pathway can be synthesized in the presence of primary inducer substrate. For example, in case of beta ketoadipate pathway, benzoate is the primary inducer and catechol is an intermediate product. When Pseudomonas putida cells were grown on two different substrates, catechol is added in both the systems. Then it was found out that in case of Pseudomonas putida cells grown on benzoate substrate, oxidize catechol immediately, whereas in case of Pseudomonas putida cells grown on asparagine substrate, exhibited a lag phase of 40 minutes to carry out oxidation of catechol. For the analysis of catabolism, that is for the catabolic pathways, there are two techniques very important to know. The first one is use of mutants and second is the use of isotopic labeling. Biochemical mutants are very important tools for the study of biosynthetic pathways in prokaryotic organisms. In 1940, G. Biddle and E. Tatum demonstrated the isolation of auxotrophic mutants and their utilization to study particular biosynthetic pathway as they are the growth factors or the biosynthetic intermediates of that particular pathway. Earlier, according to one gene one enzyme hypothesis, each individual enzyme is encoded by a specific gene. The mutants are the result of loss of genetic ability to synthesize enzymes in a functional form by the organisms. Now we know that there are several exceptions to this rule of one gene one enzyme hypothesis. Means that certain genes play exclusively regulatory roles. Some genes encodes RNA that is not translated into the proteins, and some enzymes are composed of dissimilar subunits, and each of which is encoded by a distinct type of gene. Use of biochemical mutants to study biosynthesis. There are three important reasons why should we use biochemical mutants to study the metabolism. Very first is it helps in determination of sequence of reactions. Second, it also tells us about genetically blocked pathway, and third, it helps in identifying the sequence reaction in a particular pathway. Let us discuss about the first thing, that is to determine sequence of reaction. Mutations in genes of bacteria result in new additional requirements of different compounds. For example, mutation in the gene synthesizing a particular enzyme, amino acid synthesis, leads to the lack of that particular amino acid in the bacterial cells. So, to get their growth, the same amino acid is to be added in their media. This figure says about biosynthesis of arginine. It is very clear that it is made up of different steps in which there is involvement of different enzymes, and this pathway is made possible by sequential reactions. The very first is arginine A, which convert glutamic acid into N-acetyl glucosamine. Arginine B converts N-acetyl glutamic acid into N-acetyl glutamyl phosphate. N-acetyl glutamyl phosphate can be converted into N-acetyl glutamic semialdehyde by arginine C. By arginine D, this semialdehyde is converted into N-acetyl ornithine. Ornithine is converted into N-acetyl ornithine is converted into ornithine by arginine E. Ornithine gets converted into citrulline by arginine F, and citrulline is converted into argininosuccinic acid by arginine G, and the last enzyme is arginine H, which convert argininosuccinic acid into arginine. So this is the pathway which says about the synthesis of arginine from particular precursors. This is the figure which shows about the mutations in Salmonella typhimurium strains. The mutated strains will grow in a particular amino acid when it is provided artificially in the external environment, which indicate that it is the mutant of that particular amino acid. If different genes which are mutated and resulted in a nutritional requirement for the same growth factor, we can determine the number of different enzymatically catalyzed reactions in the metabolic pathway of that particular growth factor. The requirement of arginine as a growth factor is established by the mutations in 8 different genes, and this is a best example of auxotrophy found in prokaryotes. The determination or detection of mutations in 8 different genes resulted in the need of arginine suggests that these are 8 different enzymatically catalyzed reactions in the arginine pathway. Genetically blocked pathway. The second method, there is accumulation and excretion of metabolic intermediates takes place before genetic blockades. These intermediates allow the growth of other mutant bacterial strains blocked in the same pathway at an earlier step. So, from this observation, the sequence of blockades in a series of strains can be determined. For example, strains with mutations in the gene arginine I excretes ornithine, and this ornithine can be utilized by the strains blocked at the earlier steps under the control of gene A and gene E. Moreover, isolation and identification can also be done for the intermediates excreted by the mutant strains. The third reason for using mutants is to get the information of sequence reaction in a particular metabolic pathway. Information of the sequence reaction in a biosynthetic pathway can be obtained by several mutants. Several mutant strains are allowed to grow on suspected test intermediates, and the growth is checked after incubation time. For example, when arginine or citrulline is added to the medium, arginine I mutant strains can grow, and when arginine, citrulline or ornithine is added to the medium, arginine A mutant strain can grow. It can be concluded from these observations that citrulline and ornithine can be possible intermediates of arginine pathway. The presence of ornithine is required for the synthesis of citrulline, so ornithine is considered as precursor of metabolite for the synthesis of citrulline. Use of isotopic labeling. This method is also very important to study the synthesis of prokaryotes and their metabolic pathway. When an amino acid, which is a biosynthetic building block, is added in the media of growing bacterial cells, it leads to prevention of internal synthesis of that particular amino acid. Then after, the amino acid which was provided from the outside will be used up in the specific metabolic pathway. If this added amino acid or the compound is radiolabeled, its location in various cell constituents can be detected using the method of chemical fractionation of bacterial cells. The added glutamic acid, which is already radio-labeled, is used up in the protein synthesis. It is found as a residue in the protein. Also, it is found as a residue in arginine and also in the proline molecule it is found as a residue. So, it is concluded from the results that glutamic acid is a biosynthetic precursor of synthesis of arginine as well as proline amino acids. Now, another method is called pulse labeling. In this method, a growing bacterial culture is exposed to radioactive biosynthetic precursor for a very short period of time. During this brief exposure, radioactive biosynthetic precursor starts distributing into various metabolic pathways of bacterial cell in which it participates. Then after, sequence of chemical transformations in pathways can be revealed with the help of chemical fractionation method at various time intervals. The pathway of carbon dioxide, which leads to the formation of organic compounds by photosynthetic and chemoautotrophic bacteria, was identified by pulse labeling method. This method can be used for very small quantities of the end product produced by the organisms. Radioisotopic methods are also valuable for detecting the products of biosynthetic reactions catalyzed by the extracts of the bacterial cells in which the reaction products are formed in quantities which are very small. And these methods are indispensable in the earlier study of the protein synthesis. I hope that you have understood the components of methods of studying biosynthesis. This particular topic is very important for the people who are actively doing research in the field of biochemistry and related area. In the next coming session, we will try to understand something new about prokaryotic metabolism. Till then, stay happy and God bless.